Hey, Jordan from Condo here. Assignment flippers in Toronto are currently getting crushed, or really assignment flippers in general. Their numbers aren't looking so great. So let's go through some examples here. And I have blurred out any identifiable information because assignment sales typically can't be listed publicly. So here we have a condo in the heart of Toronto, original price $755, sellers asking $700, effectively wiping away half of his deposits, and that's not even accounting for the 5% realtor commissions that he will pay on top of that. Here we have one in Niagara, so not really Toronto and not really a condo, but you get the idea. Original price $550, asking $480. Finally, we have this one here, Toronto distress sale, exclamation mark, exclamation mark. Original price $620, asking for $560. Instant equity, like that. Instant equity, selling at a loss and under market value. If you're not aware, an assignment sale is just a person reselling their contract with a builder to a secondary purchaser before closing on the property, typically and historically at a profit, but we're seeing less profits these days. Now, it's really difficult to get data on these because a lot of builders in Ontario will state in the agreement of purchase and sale that you cannot list them on MLS. So there's no centralized database to get a clear picture on how many of them are out there, what price they are at, etc., etc. And typically, this also makes them a slightly less liquid investment than a traditional resale property because you can't list it on MLS, so those buyers aren't available to you. You can only really market it via brokers, Facebook groups, realtor-only networks, email lists, WhatsApp groups, those sorts of things. And just for a little juxtaposition here, while I showed you those losers earlier, here's a big winner. So this is a condo in Square One that was purchased for $275,000 and is now reselling for $450,000. And just looking at the deal myself, they will probably get it. It's a pretty good deal. So really what it comes down to is how long ago you purchased the condo and at what price you paid. That really determines if you're going to make any profit. People who purchased more recently, 2019, 2020, 2021, they're looking at far less profits or losses versus people who purchased in 2017, for example. Like I said, really hard to get data on this. So I called up my friends at Broker Pocket. And Broker Pocket is a realtors only, so unfortunately not available to the public, but it's a realtors only platform for exclusive listings like assignment listing. And thank you, Broker Pocket, for providing this data. They've just deleted the y-axis numbers, so we don't know the exact quantity of listings on their platform because that is obviously proprietary, but we don't need the numbers. You can see the chart is very clearly up and to the right. And anecdotally, as somebody who sells a lot of pre-construction can tell you, we are probably seeing double the amount of assignment inventory we would see in a typical year. So people who are approaching me and saying, I'm not really sure about these interest rates or the future of the market. I don't really want to close and get a tenant and go through that headache. Can we just sell on assignment? What I'm honestly telling those clients is if you can afford to close, we should just close on it because there's so much assignment inventory and there's less buyers than normal. And it's a very illiquid market in typical years right now, especially so. And so the only assignments that are selling quickly right now are the ones that are really good deals. Half of the story here is exactly that. Interest rates are higher than people expected when they purchased condos 4 or 5 years ago. But the other half of the story is that there's suddenly an increase in the amount of people who buy condos with the sole intent of assignment flipping them on closing, meaning when they purchased that condo 4 or 5 years ago, they never even intended to close on it. That was never in the plan. The plan was always to assignment flip it. If you're not familiar, I run precondo.ca. It is the third largest pre-construction website in Canada, and we speak to thousands of people every month about their purchasing goals. And so what I did was I took the CRM data going back to 2017 for all mentions of assignment flipping, or just flipping in general to get an idea on how many people are out there looking at pre-construction condos as really an options on the real estate market and aren't actually intending to close, or maybe even worse, can't actually close. And you can see here that back in 2017, and I distinctly remember back in 2017 talking to people about pre-construction, educating them on the process and telling them about assignment sales. And back then I remember that almost everybody, when I would bring up assignment sales, they were like, what's an assignment sale? They had no idea. Now these days, it seems like everybody knows what they are. In fact, a lot of people are asking to make sure they have free assignment in their contract. And by the way, we changed CRM 2 times during this period of time and the date timestamps were all messed up. So getting this data took me like 8 hours. So I hope you guys find it useful. Now, inevitably, this leads into the question, well, why are so many people all of a sudden interested in assignment flipping? And I think the answer to that is because in the last 3 years, anybody who did sell their condo that they purchased at time of initial launch via assignment made hundreds of thousands of dollars. And this is why when you look at the downtown Toronto condo selling price per square foot, this is data from condos.ca, you can see that the last decade for condos has been really the best decade in Toronto condo history ever. In fact, in 2016 through 2018, in a 2-year period, condo prices went from $672 a foot on average to $934 a square foot on average. You're talking like 40% appreciation in 2 years. So if you bought a condo before that run, and then you sold it in the past few years, you did remarkably well. But the harsh reality, and something I've been talking about for many years on this channel, and if you don't subscribe, please do subscribe, is basically that you cannot make an investment in a Toronto condo assuming that you're going to see 15% a year appreciation. That's just gambling. And moreover, pre-construction condos were priced better back then than they are today. Now, this data point from Urban Nation was really interesting to me. So they put out a recent report and analysis that showed most pre-construction condo purchasers who closed on a condo in 2022, meaning they would have purchased it 5 years ago. On average, those individuals, 52% of them, in fact, were cash flow negative on the monthly based on obviously current interest rates. But in the same report, they showed the equity lift on the average pre-construction closer. And you can see that on average here, somebody who closed on a new condo in 2022 and purchased it 5 years ago, their purchase price was $472,000, but the median benchmark price for a condo today is $703,000. So anybody who bought a condo 5 years ago, closed on it, last year, kept the condo rather than assignment flipping it, has done really, really well on the equity side of things. Now, if you're like me, you're probably saying, well, this presents a really interesting opportunity. I can go out there and find a distressed assignment seller who cannot afford to close on their property, and I can take advantage of that and buy the unit for less than it is worth on the resale market and get a really good deal for myself. Yes, you're right. There are good deals out there. And if you're interested in those, there's a link in the description where I will send you my assignment list. And if we don't have exactly what you're looking for, that's not a problem. We can go out there and find you it. We do a lot of assignments every single month. Now, moving on from that, I had assumed that given the amount of pain that I'm seeing in the assignment market in the last year, that the assignment flipping sentiment or want would be washed out of the market. I was wrong. There's still a lot of people who think it's a viable investment strategy, and that kind of scares me. So here we get a crazy story on Reddit from a realtor who took advantage of a student, convinced the student to take out student loans and use those student loans as deposits on 3, not 1, 3 pre-construction condos. Keep in mind, this is a student with no income, so they have no qualifying ability for those mortgages, so they have no option but to assignment flip them. And then just a few weeks ago, I saw this post in a real estate investing group here in Toronto. Hey guys, how's the market right now for booking a new condo? I hate that term. Let's pause there. You're not booking a condo. This isn't a night at the Four Seasons, okay? A lot of people engaged in the pre-construction market have pivoted from saying buy a condo to book a condo, right? Because psychologically, it just lowers the threshold of commitment. But make no mistake about it, guys. When you sign a 60+ page agreement of purchase and sale with a builder, as soon as your 10-day cooling period has passed, that deal is firm and binding, and you have obligations to close on that unit and penalties if you don't do so. So you're not booking a condo, you are purchasing a condo. Anyways, moving on. Interest rates seem to have peaked. How wrong was this guy, right? And he thinks they're going to come down. Of course, they're not going to come down this year. What's really interesting here is he thinks he can buy a condo from a builder and assign it in 1 year. Not in 5 years, but he thinks he can sign it in 1 year for profit. This is how detached some people are from the reality of real estate investing in Toronto. They think that they can flip paper in 1 year and make significant profit. Just a reminder here, guys, when you buy a pre-construction condo, you are paying more than it is worth on the resale market. That is the reality for every project that launches in the GTA, okay? The degree of the premium changes, but it can be anywhere between 5% too much and 25% too much. It just depends on the deal you're looking at and the building you're looking at. So just for a quick assumption here, let's assume you buy a new condo launching in the entertainment district, downtown Toronto, for $1,600 a square foot. That is your cost basis, the blue line. It does not change over the construction cycle. That is what you paid for the condo, whether it's ready in 4, 5, or 6 years. Assuming resale across the street is about $1,300 a square foot for an apples to apples comparison, meaning of course a 1 or 2 year old building, similar fit and finish, similar layout, then if you take a 6% appreciation, right, which is the 45-year average in Toronto. So it rolls in the 90s, it rolls in 2008. It would actually take 3 years before you have profit in that deal and can actually sell on assignment profitably. Now, of course, if you're really bullish and you assume 8% appreciation, it's still going to take you over 2 years before you are break even on that deal. And this is why I've been preaching on the channel for years now, ever since I started the channel, do not buy to assignment flip and never buy a condo that you cannot afford to close on. The assignment clause is a way out if life changes, not a profit printing machine. Now, finally, I want to end this video on a good note. So Ben Myers from Bullpen Consulting recently put out this chart, and this chart just shows different condo buildings in Toronto, their launch dates, the price at initial launch that you could buy those units for, and what those units are selling for on the resale market today, as these are all completed buildings. Now, obviously in this chart, we see a lot of, really old purchase dates. We see 2013, 2014. Look, it's no secret that if you bought a pre-construction condo in Toronto in 2014, you did unbelievably well, to the tune of 104% appreciation on your purchase price. But I want to look at some more recent examples. So Kingsway by the River 2, I actually sold a few of these. I have some clients in this building. It launched in 2018, so it's the most recent one on the list. It launched at $656 a square foot, and it's reselling today on the resale market for $960 a square foot. So again, if you just bought it and you closed on it and you held it, you've done very, very well. Same thing with Valhalla in Etobicoke. Sold in 2017 on the East Mall in Etobicoke, $604 a square foot. Reselling today at $905 a square foot on the resale market, showing 50% appreciation. And this chart just really reiterates the point here, guys. Condos in Toronto or condos in the GTA, they are not NFTs. This is not GameStop stock. You cannot day trade in and out of real estate with such high transaction fees, such high taxes, and expect to make profit. All you're doing is increasing the amount of risk to yourself. Don't buy anything you can't afford, okay? And make sure you hold it for a long period of time. That's it for this video, guys. I hope you enjoyed it, and I will see you guys next video.